Welcome back into the GSMC Sports Podcast as we continue to talk about the 2024 Olympics on the basketball front. And while we just dove into Team USA's victory over Brazil, we had three other quarterfinals games take place yesterday, including a very surprising upset with Team France defeating Team Canada 82-73. In this game, it was all France from the beginning. It was a dominant first half for them that carried into really up until the third quarter is where the tide started to shift a little bit and Canada worked themselves back in it a little bit. But we saw France with, first off, a very interesting decision from their head coach to bench Rudy Gobert. He came off of the bench, played just 3 minutes, but there are a couple different reasons for that. The first of which being Rudy Gobert himself in an interview talked about how he was, quote, on the operating table on Monday night. He is reportedly dealing with some sort of finger injury in, I believe, his left hand with his ring finger. So there's something going on there, but it was also announced that part of the reason for Gobert playing these limited minutes came because of the difference in the matchup against Canada, which when you look at Team Canada's roster, definitely, I mean, they had a record for the Olympics of most current NBA players out other than the United States, for any other country to have that many NBA players. But the big man position is definitely one where Canada, if there were any room to grow, it is definitely that. Going with Dwight Powell and Kelly Olynyk really as your two bigs. Olynyk didn't even get much playing time in this one. Khem Birch was getting more of the run time for the 5 spot for Canada in this game, but it was just way too slow of a start for Canada, where they did start to make some real momentum in that third quarter. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I do think, was really impressive despite the fact that they end up losing this game, that they tried to dig their way out of it. We had already seen 2 comeback wins earlier in the day, with Germany coming back from a double-digit deficit in the first quarter, and Serbia as well being able to pull off the comeback in their game. But in this one, there wasn't enough time left on the clock for Canada, and frankly, Canada, they didn't do themselves any favors. Now, a lot of people are pointing to the free throw discrepancy, and there is definitely a building community of people that are specifically using the term home cooking for France, and a little bit of a favorable whistle that's been in their favor. France shot 42 free throws in this game, which was 17 more than Canada shot in this matchup. I think that the more egregious refereeing around France would have been during the Japan game, but we already covered that, so I don't want to, dive back into that. It is a narrative that's surrounding France a little bit. I think that Canada can't really blame anybody but themselves. It was some really poor shooting performances from the team as a whole. Dillon Brooks in this game, who never really seemed to get comfortable. He was 1 of 9 from the field, just 2 points, was dealing with foul trouble for a lot of the game as well. And really, I mentioned Dillon Brooks because he's in the starting lineup, but the absence of Jamal Murray really for the majority of this Olympic run was just very disappointing, and it's coming off of, for whatever it's worth, a little bit of a disappointing end for Murray's season. Wasn't tremendous in the postseason. I know he had his moments individually in that series against the Lakers in round 1, but even some of those moments, like the game winner that he hit over Anthony Davis, that was coming off of a game where he was terrible offensively for the first 3 quarters. So Jamal Murray in this Olympic run, 6 points per game on just 14% from 3. Keep in mind as well, the 3-point line is closer in FIBA than it is in the NBA. So Not really sure what's going on for Jamal Murray. Definitely did not live up to expectations of what we, think that he's capable of and what we know he's capable of. This was the counterpart of what was seen as the best duo in the NBA when they won the championship in 2023, and we're still just sort of waiting to see that full version of Jamal Murray return. But again, as much as we've been talking about this game, I want to give the proper credit to France for pulling up this upset. This was a massive deal for them. Victor Wembanyama, you look at the box score, not all that tremendous. 7 points of 2 of 10 from the field, but the impact that he has on the court, he does look a little bit erratic right now around the rim, and that is where people are throwing him, locking him into a top 10 spot in the NBA. I think that is 100% his destiny. There's a little bit of cleaning up that still has to take place with Wembanyama around the edges, but even still, it was the calling card for Wembanyama. The offense is going to be spectacular, but it is his impact on the defensive side of the floor. 3 steals in this game, a block, 12 rebounds, and a very crucial steal as well. I believe it was against Dylan Brooks, where in the backcourt, he just straight up picked his pocket. And, I think that Wemby is going to be a generational defender. Pretty sure he's actually, in quick NBA thought here, I think I saw that he's the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year this upcoming season, which is pretty incredible there. But again, a lot to talk about with France. Do want to give some credit to Gershon Yabusele as well, Celtics legend, inserted into the starting lineup in this game and dropped 22 points. He was incredible. Love what he's doing with the afro now as well. Evan Fournier and Gobert both moved to the bench. Gobert, like we mentioned, didn't get much playing time, but Fournier was still able to produce. He's been pretty good for France in these Olympics so far. Scored 15 points in this game on 50% from the field, so definitely a good contribution there. And France is now going to have a great opportunity to make their way into the gold medal game, but they're going to have to overcome the undefeated Germany in order to do so. Germany, a little bit of a weaker opponent that they had to face off against. Obviously, France and Canada, that was the marquee matchup of the day. Germany able to, after a bad first quarter, were outscored by 10 in the quarter, able to defeat Greece by double-digit points, have won all 4 of their games since the group stage by at least 10 points. And this is a team that we are definitely aware of. I believe it was last year in the FIBA World Cup that they ended up winning the gold, and they have looked incredible up to this point. Franz Wagner, I haven't exactly been super positive on him from an NBA perspective, but he is playing really well so far. We know what his strengths are. He is a solid defender. He can, make the right plays in terms of playmaking, can rebound some, and he is an excellent downhill scorer. That's what he was able to flash in this game. 18 points. He was 7 of 11 from inside the three-point line. The outside shot is still a little bit of a concern with him, but not what Germany necessarily needed in this game to get the win. And Dennis Schroeder continuing to as well provide some key contributions for this Germany team, coming off of the bench in this one. Germany didn't shoot all that tremendous from the three-point line, weren't bad necessarily either, but 9 of 29, feel like that can take a jump a little bit more. Obst is somebody who every broadcast that you listen to talks about how he has NBA range and that he could be a reliable shooter. In this game, just 7 minutes, went scoreless. So somebody that, especially if that were to be a matchup against the USA in the gold medal game, somebody that I would definitely be keeping an eye on. But Germany's the real deal in these types in the Olympics so far, and I think that it is going to be an excellent game between the two of them when the semifinals tip off tomorrow. It is at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So definitely going to be a fun one to watch there. And then the last game quickly that we will cover as well is Serbia versus Australia. Another big time comeback that was pulled off in this one thanks to Nikola Jokic helping to lead the way, and ended up going to overtime. Patty Mills for Australia able to have a really big outing. Patty Mills has been incredible these past few global basketball, I don't know how you want to phrase it, international basketball, from the World Cups to now this year. Dropped 26 points in this game on 11 of 21 from the field. Hit the shot to send this game to overtime for Australia, but ultimately Serbia was able to come out on top in this one. Jokic with an unbelievable stat line, 21 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals and a block on over 50% from the field. Really not much else you can ask for from Serbia at this point. But give credit to Patty Mills, like I was talking about. And Josh Giddey, by the way, as well. 25 points in this game on 11 of 20 from the field. 3 of 5 from 3. Very brutal 7 turnovers, but somebody that a lot of NBA fans are turning the page on, and I do still have sneaky stock in Josh Giddey as he makes the move to Chicago, and he's going to be able to be a little bit more on the ball once again. But Australia is a team that I do think, in years to come would be interesting to see. I mean, they have a lot of notable players on their roster and some up-and-coming players as well. Josh Giddey, Dyson Daniels, both products of the academy that they have in Australia there. You have Duop Reith for all my Trailblazers fans out there. I'm a big Duop Reith guy myself, coming off the bench, so some intriguing pieces for Australia, but it's Serbia that's coming out of this one, and they are going to be set to face the U.S. That game tomorrow afternoon as well. I believe it is at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Don't have it exactly in front of me, but gonna do a quick double check here on the fly. It is 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, so definitely be sure to check out that game as well, and we will be coming to you probably on Friday with a breakdown of all of those. Maybe we'll touch on France-Germany tomorrow afternoon and give some immediate thoughts there. But let me know which game you're looking forward to, what your expectations are for each of these games. But we are actually now going to be looking ahead in the Olympics, but we're going to be looking forward to the 2028 Olympics, and I want to just talk out what the roster construction could look like for Team USA when the team regathers for those Olympics. So stick with us, and we will be right back after this quick break.